The Village Girl and the City Prince, the Broken Pot. Sarah was crying hard when Mr. Johnson found her by the bush near the farm. Her mother's clay pot was broken into many pieces on the ground. She had been carrying water from the stream when she fell down. "What happened here?" Mr. Johnson asked when he saw Sarah sitting on the ground with tears on her face. "I broke my mother's pot," Sarah said between her tears. "She will be so angry with me. This was our only good pot for carrying water." Mr. Johnson felt sorry for the young girl. He knew how important that pot was to Sarah's family. They lived in a small village called Green Valley, far from the city. Most families in the village had very few things, and losing something like a water pot was a big problem. "Come on, let me take you home to your mother," Mr. Johnson said. "She will not be too angry. These things happen." Sarah walked slowly beside Mr. Johnson on the dusty road back to her house. She was still crying and wiping her nose with her dress. Mr. Johnson tried to make her feel better by telling her stories about when he was young and broke things too. When they got to Sarah's house, her mother Grace was cooking inside over a small fire. Grace looked up when she saw them coming. "Thank you for bringing her home," Grace said to Mr. Johnson. "What happened?" "She fell down and broke the water pot," Mr. Johnson explained. "I found her crying by the bush. She has been very upset about it." Grace looked at her daughter with tired eyes. She was not angry, just worried. The pot cost them a lot of money, and they did not have extra money to buy a new one right away. "Thank you for helping her," Grace said to Mr. Johnson. "Please wait. Let me give you some water before you go." "No, I must go home now, but please give Sarah some food and let her wash her face. She has been crying for a long time." After Mr. Johnson left, Grace sat down next to Sarah. "Stop crying now," she said. "We will not die because the pot is broken. Tomorrow I will take you to town and we will buy a new pot." "But we don't have money for a new pot," Sarah said. "Don't worry about money. Your Uncle Peter lives in the city now. He sent a message saying he wants you to come live with him and his wife. You can go to school in the city and learn new things. When you get a good job, you can buy many pots for your mother." Sarah stopped crying and looked at her mother with surprise. "You want me to go to the city?" "Yes, my daughter. I want something better for you than this hard farm life. In the city, you will not have to carry water from the stream or collect firewood. You will live in a house with electricity and running water. You can go to school and become educated." Sarah was scared. She had never been away from her mother and their small village. "But who will take care of you if I go away?" "Don't worry about me. God has been taking care of me, and God will continue to take care of me. I went to the city once when I was young, but I came back because I missed the village too much. But you are different. You are smart and can learn many things. What if I don't like the city? Then you can always come back home. But I think you should try it first. You can learn both ways of life and then decide which one you want." That night, Sarah could not sleep well. She kept thinking about going to the city. She had never seen tall buildings or cars or electric lights. The only vehicle she had ever seen was the bus that came to their village once a week. The next morning, Grace called Sarah to sit with her under the big tree behind their house. "Listen to me very carefully," Grace said. "I need to tell you important things about city life before you go." Sarah sat quietly and listened to her mother. "In the city, girls do many different things than we do here in the village. Some of these things are not good. They put red color on their lips and call it lipstick. They paint their fingernails with bright colors like red and blue. They put white powder on their faces. I don't want you to do these things." "Why do they do that?" Sarah asked. "I don't know why, but city people have different ways. You must remember that you come from a good family. You must respect your Uncle Peter and his wife Janet. You must help them with work in the house and be polite to everyone." "Will I really go to school?" "Yes, your uncle will send you to a sewing school where you can learn to make clothes. Then you can make money by sewing for other people. This is a good skill for a woman to have." Grace continued talking to Sarah about city life. She told her to be careful of strangers and to always tell her uncle if anyone tried to hurt her. 2 days later, Uncle Peter came to the village to take Sarah to the city. He drove an old car that made a lot of noise. Sarah had never been in a car before, and she was very excited and nervous at the same time. Don't worry, Uncle Peter told Grace. My wife and I will take care of Sarah like she is our own daughter. She will go to school and learn good skills. You should be proud of her. Grace hugged Sarah tightly. Be a good girl, she said. Write letters to me and tell me how you are doing. Don't forget where you come from. Sarah got into the car with her small bag of clothes. As they drove away from the village, she looked back and saw her mother standing by their house, waving goodbye. The city was very different from what Sarah had imagined. There were tall buildings everywhere, and the streets were full of cars and buses. The noise was much louder than anything in her quiet village. Uncle Peter lived in a small house with electricity and running water. Sarah was amazed when she turned on the light switch and the room became bright. She had never seen a television before, and she spent the first evening watching the moving pictures with wonder. This is called a television, Uncle Peter explained. People all over the world can watch news and stories on it. Aunt Janet was kind to Sarah, but she was also strict. She showed Sarah how to clean the house properly and how to cook on the gas stove instead of over a wood fire. You must learn city ways if you want to succeed here, Aunt Janet said, but don't forget the good values your mother taught you. Every morning, Sarah helped with housework before going to the sewing school. The school was run by Mrs. Williams, an older woman who taught young girls how to make clothes. Sarah was a fast learner, and soon she could sew straight lines and make simple patterns. In the afternoons, Sarah liked to sit outside Uncle Peter's house and watch the cars go by. She had never seen so many vehicles in her life. Some were small and old, while others were big and shiny. One day, while Sarah was sitting outside, she saw something that made her very excited. A long line of big, beautiful cars drove slowly down the street. The cars were shiny black and had small flags on them. What are those cars? Sarah asked a neighboring woman who was also watching. Those are the royal cars, the woman explained. The king of our region lives here in the city. Sometimes he drives through this street with his family. The young man in the front car is Prince Michael, the king's son. Sarah watched with wide eyes as the cars passed by. She had never seen anything so beautiful. The cars looked like they were made of black glass, and they moved so smoothly and quietly. Do they come here often? Sarah asked. Yes, almost every day in the morning. The prince goes to the university in the city centre. Sometimes when his father, the king, is travelling, the prince drives by himself. From that day on, Sarah made sure to be outside every morning to watch the royal cars pass by. She loved seeing the shiny vehicles and imagining what it would be like to ride in one. One morning, Sarah was watching the royal cars as usual when something different happened. Instead of driving straight past, the cars slowed down and stopped near where she was standing. Sarah became frightened and tried to run back into the house, but she was so nervous that she tripped and fell down. When she looked up, she saw a young man getting out of the front car. He was dressed in fine clothes and looked very handsome. The young man walked over to where Sarah was sitting on the ground. Are you hurt? He asked in a kind voice. Sarah was too scared to speak. She had never talked to a prince before, and she didn't know what to say. Don't be afraid, the prince said. I just wanted to make sure you were not injured when you fell. I'm fine, Sarah whispered, still looking down at the ground. I have noticed you watching our cars every morning. Do you like cars? Sarah nodded her head, but still did not look up. My name is Prince Michael. What is your name? Sarah, she said quietly. That's a pretty name. Sarah, would you like to see the car up close? Sarah finally looked up at the prince. He had a friendly smile and kind eyes. She nodded her head yes. Prince Michael helped Sarah stand up and walk over to his car. It was even more beautiful up close than it looked from far away. The seats were made of soft leather, and everything inside was clean and shiny. This car comes from Germany, Prince Michael explained. My father bought it last year. Sarah touched the smooth metal of the car door. It's so beautiful, she said. Thank you. I have to go to the university now, but maybe I will see you again tomorrow morning. Yes, Sarah said with a small smile. After the prince left, Sarah went inside the house. She was very excited about meeting a real prince, but she was also worried. What would Uncle Peter and Aunt Janet say if they found out? The next morning, Sarah went outside early to wait for the royal cars. When Prince Michael's car stopped, he got out and walked over to talk with her. "Good morning, Sarah," he said. "How are you today?" "I'm fine, thank you," Sarah replied. She was less nervous than the day before. "I brought you something," the prince said, and he handed her a small bag. Inside the bag were some sweet cakes that Sarah had never tasted before. They were much better than anything she had eaten in the village or even in Uncle Peter's house. "Thank you very much," Sarah said. "These are delicious. I'm glad you like them." "Tell me about yourself, Sarah. Where did you come from?" Sarah told the prince about her village, Green Valley, and about her mother, Grace. She explained how she came to the city to live with her uncle and learn sewing. "Did you go to school in your village?" Prince Michael asked. "Only until primary 6. The school was too far from our farm, so my mother asked me to stop going and help with the farming work." "That's too bad. Education is very important. Maybe I can help you continue your studies." Sarah's eyes got wide with surprise. "You would do that?" "Of course. I think you are a very intelligent girl. You learn things quickly and you speak well." From that day on, Prince Michael stopped to talk with Sarah every morning on his way to the university. He brought her books to read and taught her new words. Sarah looked forward to these meetings more than anything else in her day. After a few weeks, Prince Michael said, "Sarah, would you like to visit my house sometime? I could show you my library and you could meet my family." Sarah was excited, but also scared. "I don't know if my uncle would allow me to go to the royal palace." "Don't worry about that. I will talk to your uncle and ask his permission." That evening, Prince Michael came to Uncle Peter's house. Sarah was inside helping Aunt Janet prepare dinner when she heard a car stop outside. "Someone is here," Aunt Janet said, looking out the window. "It's a very nice car." Uncle Peter went outside to see who it was. When he saw Prince Michael, he was very surprised and nervous. "Good evening, sir," Uncle Peter said, bowing slightly. "How can I help you?" "Good evening. I am Prince Michael. I came to talk with you about Sarah." Uncle Peter became worried. "What has Sarah done wrong?" "I hope she has not been bothering you, Your Highness." No, nothing like that. Sarah has done nothing wrong. I have been talking with her in the mornings, and I find her to be a very intelligent and polite young lady. I was hoping I could become friends with her." Uncle Peter didn't know what to say. He had never imagined that a prince would want to be friends with his niece. "Please come inside," Uncle Peter said. "Let me call Sarah." When Sarah came into the room, she was very nervous. She had never seen Prince Michael inside a house before, and she was worried about what Uncle Peter would say. "Sarah tells me she is learning to sew," Prince Michael said. "That's a very good skill. I also understand she had to stop going to school in her village." "Yes, that's true," Uncle Peter said. "Her mother sent her here so she could get better education and training. I would like to help with her education, if you will allow it. I could teach her reading and mathematics. I think she has great potential." Uncle Peter looked at Aunt Janet, and they both seemed pleased, but also concerned. "Your Highness, we are honored by your interest in Sarah," Uncle Peter said, "but we are simple people, and you are from the royal family. We don't want to cause any problems." "There will be no problems," Prince Michael assured them. "I just want to help Sarah learn and grow. She is a good girl, and she deserves a chance to improve her life." After some discussion, Uncle Peter agreed to let Prince Michael continue teaching Sarah. However, he made some rules. "Sarah can only meet with you here in this house where we can see what is happening," Uncle Peter said. "She cannot go to private places with you. This way, everything will be proper and respectful." "I understand completely," Prince Michael said. "I respect your wishes and your care for Sarah." Over the next few months, Prince Michael visited Uncle Peter's house several times each week. He brought books and paper for Sarah, and he taught her many things she had never learned before. Sarah learned to read much better, and she practiced writing letters to her mother, Grace. Prince Michael taught her about history, geography, and mathematics. Sarah was a fast learner, and she enjoyed studying with the prince. "You are very smart, Sarah," Prince Michael told her one day. "You could go to university if you wanted to." "Really? Do you think I could do that?" "I'm sure you could. You just need more preparation and practice." Sarah began to feel more confident about herself. She was learning so much, and Prince Michael always encouraged her to ask questions and think about new ideas. One day, Prince Michael said, "Sarah, my parents are coming back from a trip next week. They have been traveling to other countries for 2 months. Would you like to come with me to the airport to welcome them home? Sarah was very excited. I have never seen an airplane before. Are you sure it would be all right? Of course. It will be a good experience for you. What should I wear? Just wear your best dress. You always look nice. Sarah was so excited that she could hardly sleep that night. She was going to see airplanes and meet the king and queen. On the day they were supposed to go to the airport, Sarah put on her best dress. It was a simple blue dress that Aunt Janet had bought for her, but it was the nicest thing she owned. Prince Michael came to pick her up in his car. Sarah had never ridden in such a beautiful car before. The seats were soft, and the car was so quiet she could barely hear the engine running. The airport was bigger than anything Sarah had ever seen. There were huge buildings and many people walking around with suitcases. She heard loud noises from the airplanes taking off and landing. Those are airplanes, Prince Michael explained. They can fly people all around the world. Sarah watched with wonder as the big metal machines moved on the ground and took off into the sky. She could hardly believe that people could travel inside them. When the King and Queen's airplane landed, Prince Michael and Sarah waited with other people to welcome them home. Sarah felt nervous about meeting the royal family, but Prince Michael told her not to worry. When the King and Queen came out of the airplane, Sarah could see that they were dressed in very expensive clothes. The Queen wore beautiful jewelry, and the King had a gold watch. "Mother, father, welcome home," Prince Michael said as he hugged his parents. "Thank you, son," the King said. "Who is this young lady with you?" "This is my friend Sarah. I told you about her in my letters." The Queen looked at Sarah with a cold expression. Sarah could tell immediately that the Queen did not approve of her simple clothes and village appearance. "Good morning, Your Majesty," Sarah said quietly, as Uncle Peter had taught her. The Queen did not respond kindly. Instead, she looked at Prince Michael with an angry expression. "Michael, why did you bring this girl here? She is not dressed properly for a royal welcome." Sarah felt embarrassed and wished she could disappear. Her dress, which had seemed nice at Uncle Peter's house, now looked very poor compared to everyone else's clothes. "Mother, Sarah is my friend. I wanted her to see the airport and the airplanes." "This is not appropriate," the Queen said firmly. "Royal family members should not bring peasant girls to official events." Sarah's face became red with shame. She had never been called a peasant girl before, and it hurt her feelings very much. "I think I should go home now," Sarah whispered to Prince Michael. "No, please don't leave because of what my mother said. She doesn't know you yet." But Sarah was too embarrassed to stay. "Please take me home," she said. Prince Michael could see that Sarah was very upset, so he agreed to take her back to Uncle Peter's house. On the way home, Prince Michael tried to make Sarah feel better. "Please don't listen to my mother's words. She was tired from the long trip. When she gets to know you, she will like you." But Sarah was not convinced. She realized that there was a big difference between her world and Prince Michael's world. She was just a poor girl from a village, and he was a prince from a royal family. That evening at the royal palace, the Queen spoke angrily to Prince Michael. "I cannot believe you brought that village girl to welcome us at the airport. How could you embarrass our family like that? She is my friend, Mother. She is a good person, and she is very intelligent. I don't care how intelligent she is. She is not from our social class. She is a servant girl living with her uncle. This friendship must end immediately." The King also spoke to Prince Michael. "Son, your mother is right. You need to think about your future. You will be king someday, and you need to marry someone from a royal or wealthy family. You cannot waste your time with village girls." "But I care about Sarah. She is different from other girls I know. She is honest and kind, and she wants to learn and improve herself. There are many educated girls from good families who would be better wives for a future king," the Queen said. "I will not allow this relationship to continue." Prince Michael became angry. "You cannot control who I choose to love." "Love," the Queen said with shock. "You think you love this peasant girl?" "Yes, I do love her. I have never felt this way about anyone before." The King and Queen were very upset. They had always expected Prince Michael to marry a princess from another royal family, not a poor girl from a village. "We will not allow this," the Queen declared. "I will put a stop to this nonsense immediately." The next day, while Prince Michael was at the university, The Queen sent her guards to Uncle Peter's house. When the guards arrived, Uncle Peter was very frightened. He thought Sarah had done something wrong. "The Queen wants to see you immediately," one guard told Uncle Peter. Uncle Peter and Aunt Janet went with the guards to the royal palace, leaving Sarah at home. Sarah was scared and worried about what was happening. At the palace, the Queen spoke to Uncle Peter in a stern voice. "I understand that you have allowed my son to visit your house to see your niece." "Yes, Your Majesty. Prince Michael said he wanted to help educate Sarah. We thought it was a great honor." "Well, this must stop immediately. My son is the future king, and he cannot be involved with a servant girl. It is damaging to our family's reputation." Uncle Peter bowed his head. "I understand, Your Majesty. We never intended to cause any problems." "Good. I want you to send that girl back to her village immediately. If my son comes looking for her, you must tell him that she became sick and died." Uncle Peter was shocked. "Your Majesty, you want me to lie to the prince?" "Yes. It is for the good of everyone. Here is money to help with the girl's travel expenses and to compensate you for any trouble." The Queen handed Uncle Peter a large amount of money. It was more money than he had ever seen before. "I expect the girl to be gone by tomorrow morning," the Queen said. "Do you understand?" Uncle Peter felt he had no choice but to agree. "Yes, Your Majesty. Sarah will leave tomorrow." When Uncle Peter returned home, he looked very serious and worried. Sarah could tell that something bad had happened. "What did the Queen say?" Sarah asked. Uncle Peter sat down and looked at Sarah with sad eyes. "Sarah, you must go back to your village tomorrow morning." "Why?" "What did I do wrong?" Aunt Janet started crying. "You did nothing wrong, Sarah. The Queen does not want you to continue being friends with Prince Michael. She thinks it is not appropriate for a prince to be friends with a village girl." Sarah felt like her heart was breaking. She had been so happy learning new things and spending time with Prince Michael. Now everything was ending because she was not good enough for the royal family. "Can I say goodbye to Prince Michael?" "No," Uncle Peter said sadly. "The Queen gave me instructions. I must tell Prince Michael that you became sick and died. She wants him to forget about you completely." "But that's not true." "Why must you lie?" "I'm sorry, Sarah. I have no choice. The Queen gave me money and told me what to do. If I don't obey her, she could cause big problems for our family." That night, Sarah packed her few belongings and prepared to return to her village. She wrote a letter to Prince Michael explaining what really happened, but Uncle Peter took the letter away from her. "I cannot give him that letter," Uncle Peter said. "I must do what the Queen ordered." Sarah cried all night. She had been so happy in the city, learning new things and feeling like her life could be different. Now she had to go back to the village and forget about her dreams. Early the next morning, Uncle Peter took Sarah to the bus station. The bus that went to Green Valley only ran once a week, and Sarah was lucky it was the right day. "I'm sorry this happened, Sarah," Uncle Peter said as he hugged her goodbye. "You are a good girl, and you deserved better treatment." Sarah got on the old, crowded bus and found a seat by the window. As the bus drove away from the city, she watched the tall buildings disappear. She was going back to her old life, but now she knew what she was missing. The next day, Prince Michael came to Uncle Peter's house as usual, but when he knocked on the door, Uncle Peter came out with a very sad expression. "Where is Sarah?" Prince Michael asked. "I brought her some new books to read." Uncle Peter looked down at the ground. "Your Highness, I have very bad news. Sarah became very sick 2 days ago. We took her to the hospital, but the doctors could not help her. She died yesterday." Prince Michael felt like the world had stopped spinning. "What? Sarah is dead? How is that possible? She was fine when I saw her at the airport." "I'm sorry, Your Highness. It happened very quickly. She had a fever and became very weak. My wife and I took her body back to her village for burial." Prince Michael could not believe what he was hearing. Sarah had been healthy and happy, and now Uncle Peter was saying she was dead. He shouted, "Which hospital did you take her to? I want to talk to the doctors." The doctors said it was malaria. Sometimes it kills people very quickly, especially people from villages who are not used to city diseases. Prince Michael was crying now. He had never cried over a girl before, but Sarah had been special to him. She was innocent and kind, and she had made him feel happy in a way he had never experienced. Where is she buried? I want to visit her grave. Uncle Peter looked uncomfortable. The village is very far away, Your Highness. It takes 3 days of travel, and the roads are very bad. Even with your car, it would be difficult to find. I don't care how difficult it is. I want to go there. Your Highness, the village is in the mountains, very far from any city. There are no proper roads, only walking paths through the forest. Even if you could get there, you would not be able to find the exact place where she is buried. Prince Michael was determined to find Sarah's grave, but Uncle Peter continued to discourage him. The village is called Green Valley, but it is not on any map. Only people from that area know how to find it. For several days, Prince Michael tried to find information about Green Valley and Sarah's death. But no hospital had any record of treating a girl named Sarah, and no one could give him directions to the village. Meanwhile, Sarah had arrived back in her village. Her mother, Grace, was surprised to see her daughter return so suddenly. Sarah, what are you doing here? I thought you were learning to sew in the city. Sarah told her mother everything that had happened with Prince Michael and the Queen. Grace listened with sadness and anger. The Queen had no right to treat you that way, Grace said. You did nothing wrong by being friends with the prince. But mother, maybe she was right. Maybe a village girl like me should not dream of being friends with a prince. We are from different worlds. No, Sarah. Every person deserves to be treated with respect, whether they are rich or poor. You are intelligent and good-hearted. That prince was lucky to have you as a friend. Sarah went back to her old life of farming and taking care of the house. But everything feels different now. She had seen what life could be like with education and opportunities. She had tasted a different kind of existence, and it was hard to forget. Every day, Sarah thought about Prince Michael. She wondered if he believed Uncle Peter's lie about her death. She hoped he would remember her kindly and maybe think about her sometimes. The villagers noticed that Sarah seemed sad and different. She had always been a cheerful girl, but now she was quiet and thoughtful most of the time. City life changed her, some people said. She is not the same happy girl who left here. Grace worried about her daughter. She could see that Sarah's heart was broken, and she didn't know how to help her feel better. Back in the city, Prince Michael could not forget about Sarah. He refused to believe that she was really dead, and he continued searching for information about her. He hired private investigators to look for Green Valley Village, but they could not find any official records of such a place. Prince Michael began to suspect that Uncle Peter had lied to him. One day, Prince Michael confronted Uncle Peter again. I have been thinking about Sarah's death, and something doesn't make sense. If she really died in a hospital, there would be official records. But no hospital has any information about her. Uncle Peter became nervous. Your Highness, maybe the hospital made mistakes with their records. You know how these things can be. I think you are lying to me, Prince Michael said firmly. I think Sarah is still alive, and someone made you send her away. Uncle Peter's hands started shaking. He was afraid of both the prince and the Queen, and he didn't know what to do. Please, Your Highness, I told you the truth. Sarah is dead, but Prince Michael could see that Uncle Peter was lying. The man's behavior and nervousness made it obvious that he was hiding something. If you don't tell me the truth, I will have you arrested for lying to the royal family, Prince Michael threatened. Finally, Uncle Peter broke down and told Prince Michael everything. He explained about the Queen's visit, the money she had given him, and the orders to send Sarah back to her village. Prince Michael was both relieved and furious. He was happy that Sarah was alive, but he was angry with his mother for interfering in his life. How could you lie to me about something so important? Prince Michael demanded. I'm sorry, Your Highness. The Queen threatened my family. I had to do what she said. Prince Michael immediately went home to confront his parents. When Prince Michael arrived at the palace, he went straight to his parents' room. The King and Queen were having dinner, but Prince Michael interrupted them. I know what you did to Sarah, he said angrily. I know you forced Uncle Peter to send her away and lie to me about her death. The Queen put down her fork and looked at her son calmly. Yes, I did that. It was necessary to protect our family's reputation. How could you be so cruel? Sarah never did anything to hurt our family. She was a bad influence on you, the Queen replied. You are forgetting your duties as a prince. You need to marry someone appropriate, not a village girl with no education or family background. The king also supported his wife. Son, your mother did the right thing. That girl was not suitable for you. You will be king someday, and you need a wife who can help you rule properly. I don't care about any of that, Prince Michael shouted. I love Sarah and she loves me. That's all that matters. Love is not enough when you are royalty, the Queen said. You have responsibilities to your people and your family. You cannot marry beneath your station. Prince Michael was so angry he could hardly speak. Sarah is not beneath me. She is intelligent, kind, and honest. She is better than most of the wealthy girls you want me to meet. Enough of this foolishness, the king said firmly. You will not mention that girl again. We will arrange a proper marriage for you with a suitable princess. I will never marry anyone else, Prince Michael declared. If I cannot marry Sarah, I will not marry at all. With that, Prince Michael left the palace. He was determined to find Sarah and bring her back, no matter what his parents said. Prince Michael spent weeks preparing for his journey to find Sarah. He studied maps and asked local people about villages in the mountain areas. Finally, he found an old man who knew about Green Valley. He met another old man. Yes, I know that place, the old man said. It's very far from here, deep in the mountains. The people there are mostly farmers. It takes many days to get there, and the roads are very rough. Can you show me the way? I can draw you a map, but it will be a difficult journey. You will need to take a bus part of the way, then walk through the mountains. Prince Michael didn't care how difficult it would be. He was determined to find Sarah and tell her that he loved her. He left the city early one morning, driving his car as far as the roads would allow. Then he took a local bus that traveled to small villages in the mountains. The bus was old and crowded, and the roads were full of holes and rocks. After 2 days of difficult travel, Prince Michael finally reached the area where Green Valley was supposed to be located. He asked local people for directions and eventually found someone who knew the way to Sarah's village. Green Valley is about a day's walk from here, a local farmer told him. Follow this path through the forest, and you will reach the village by tomorrow evening. Prince Michael started walking. He had never walked so far in his life, and his feet became sore after a few hours. But he kept going because he was determined to find Sarah. When Prince Michael finally reached Green Valley, he was tired and dirty from the long journey. His expensive clothes were torn and muddy, and he looked very different from the well-dressed prince who usually rode in shiny cars. He asked some villagers where he could find Sarah's family, and they pointed him toward a small house at the edge of the village. Sarah was outside washing clothes when she saw a man walking toward her house. At first, she didn't recognize him because he looked so different. But when he got closer, she realized it was Prince Michael. Sarah dropped the clothes she was holding and stared at him in shock. Prince Michael, how did you find me here? Sarah, I can't believe I finally found you. I thought you were dead. Sarah ran to him, and they hugged each other tightly. Both of them were crying with happiness and relief. Uncle Peter told me you died of malaria, Prince Michael said. I searched for weeks before I learned the truth about what my mother did to you. I wanted to write you a letter, but Uncle Peter wouldn't let me. I thought I would never see you again. Grace came out of the house when she heard voices. She was surprised to see a strange man talking to her daughter. Mother, this is Prince Michael, Sarah said. This is the prince I told you about. Grace looked at the dirty, tired young man. He didn't look like any prince she had ever imagined, but she could see that he had kind eyes, and that Sarah was very happy to see him. Welcome to our home, Your Highness, Grace said politely. Please come inside and have some food. You look like you have traveled a long way. Thank you, Ma'am. I have been traveling for 3 days to find Sarah. Inside the small house, Prince Michael told Grace and Sarah about everything that had happened since Sarah left the city. He explained how his mother had forced Uncle Peter to lie and how he had discovered the truth. Mrs. Grace, Prince Michael said, I came here to ask for Sarah's hand in marriage. I know I am a prince and she is from a village, but I love her more than anything in this world. Grace studied the young man's face carefully. She could see that he was sincere and that he had given up his comfortable life to find her daughter. Your Highness, Grace said, you gave up your royal comfort and traveled through mountains to find my daughter. That shows me your love is real. But what about your parents? What about your royal duties? I told my parents I will never marry anyone else, Prince Michael said. If they cannot accept Sarah, then I will give up my title. I would rather be a simple farmer with Sarah than a king without her. Sarah had tears in her eyes. But you were born to be king. You cannot throw that away for me. Sarah, you don't understand, Prince Michael said, taking her hands. You taught me what real leadership means. A true king serves his people with love and kindness, not just power. You showed me that a person's worth isn't measured by their wealth or status, but by their heart. I want to be a better man because of you. Just then, they heard the sound of horses and carriages outside. Grace looked out the window and saw royal guards approaching their house. Someone is coming, Grace said nervously. Uncle Peter burst through the door, followed by royal guards. Your Highness, the King and Queen are coming. They found out you came here. Prince Michael stood protectively in front of Sarah. Then let them come. I'm not hiding anymore. King Edward and Queen Miranda entered the small house. The Queen looked around with obvious displeasure at the simple surroundings. Michael, you have caused us great worry, the King said sternly. You disappeared for days without telling anyone where you were going. I came here because Uncle Peter lied to me about Sarah's death on your orders, Mother. Prince Michael replied firmly. You forced an innocent man to deceive me and broke my heart with false news. We did what we thought was best for you and our kingdom, the King said. No, Father. You did what you thought would protect your reputation. There's a difference. Sarah stepped forward bravely. Your Majesties, I never meant to cause problems for your family. I know I'm just a village girl with nothing to offer a prince. If you want me to stay away from Michael, I will. The Queen looked surprised by Sarah's dignity. You would do that? Yes, Your Majesty. I love him too much to be the reason he loses his family or his throne. No, Sarah, Prince Michael said angrily. Don't let them intimidate you. You have every right to be loved and respected. Grace stepped forward. Your Majesties, I am Sarah's mother. I may be a simple farmer's wife, but I raised my daughter to have good values. She is kind, honest, hard-working, and intelligent. If you cannot see her worth, then perhaps you don't deserve to have her in your family. The Queen looked shocked that a village woman had spoken to her so directly. Michael, the King said thoughtfully, are you truly willing to give up your inheritance for this girl? Yes, Father. Without hesitation, Prince Michael replied, but more than that, I believe Sarah would make me a better king, not a worse one. She understands what it means to struggle, to work hard, to care for others. These are qualities a ruler should have. After a long pause, the Queen studied Sarah carefully. Child, come here. Sarah approached nervously. The Queen examined her face and listened as she spoke politely and intelligently. You're prettier than I remembered from the airport, the Queen admitted, and you speak well for someone with little education. Prince Michael has been teaching me, Your Majesty. He's a very good teacher. The Queen sighed deeply. Edward, look at our son. I haven't seen him this happy since he was a child. And look at how he's grown as a person. He traveled through mountains, gave up his comfort, risked his safety. This girl has changed him for the better. The King nodded slowly. I see that. But Miranda, think of what people will say. A prince marrying a village girl. Grace spoke boldly. Your Majesty, with respect, people will always talk. The question is whether you want them talking about a king who follows his heart and treats all people with dignity, or a king who was forced into a loveless marriage for appearances. Sarah added quietly, I could learn to be worthy of him, Your Majesties. I would study hard and try to understand royal duties. I don't want to embarrass your family. The Queen's expression softened. Child, you don't need to prove your worth. My son has already shown us what he sees in you by the sacrifices he was willing to make. After exchanging looks with his wife, the King spoke. It means, son, that your mother and I have been foolish. We thought we were protecting our family's honor, but real honor comes from love, loyalty, and treating people with kindness, regardless of their birth. The Queen stepped towards Sarah. I owe you an apology, my dear. I judged you unfairly and treated you cruelly. If you can forgive a stubborn old queen, I would be honored to welcome you into our family. Sarah burst into tears and ran to hug Prince Michael. Is this really happening? Yes, my love, Prince Michael said, holding her tightly. We can finally be together. Grace wiped her own tears. Your Majesties, you've made an old mother very happy. We would be honored if you would come to live at the palace, the king said to Grace. We want Sarah to have her family close by. Grace smiled. Thank you, but I think I'll stay in my village. Though I'll visit often to make sure you're all treating my daughter well. Everyone laughed, and the tension completely disappeared. 6 months later, the royal palace gardens were decorated with flowers from both the city and Green Valley Village. Sarah, wearing a stunning wedding dress but keeping her natural simplicity, walked down the aisle toward Prince Michael. The wedding guests included both royalty and villagers from Green Valley. Uncle Peter and Aunt Janet sat in the front row, smiling proudly. Grace walked beside Sarah, wearing a beautiful dress provided by the Queen. As Sarah and Prince Michael exchanged vows, promising to love and support each other through all of life's challenges, the crowd cheered with joy. The celebration continued into the evening. Prince Michael and Sarah danced together as musicians played both royal court music and simple village songs. Are you ready to be a princess? Prince Michael whispered to Sarah as they danced. I'm ready to be your wife, Sarah replied, smiling. That's all that matters to me. Together, we'll be better rulers than I ever could have been alone. You'll teach me to remember where I come from and to care for all our people, not just the wealthy ones. And you'll teach me to be confident in myself and never forget that love can overcome any obstacle. As the sun set over the palace gardens, with guests from both the royal court and Green Valley Village celebrating together, everyone knew they were witnessing the beginning of something special. Prince Michael and Sarah had proven that true love knows no boundaries between village and palace, poverty and wealth. Here is the end of the story. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to this channel for more content like this, and please drop your comment and share your thoughts with us. God bless you.